Now this thing obviously is all rotted away. I have a Ford F150 here. This one I'm actually going to be replacing the rocker panel section as well as this cab corner section. Now this thing obviously is all rotted away, falling apart. There's a huge hole underneath here as well. This is how the new part comes from Ford. So I will section this at the back all the way up here, which will be somewhere right in here. This B pillar will get sectioned. It looks like it's going to be right around here. And they actually have a sectioning procedure in the front. Rather than going all the way up top, I could cut it right in here, right in this area. This front part is actually in good shape, so it'll just be easier to put it in right here rather than up in this area. I'm gonna go ahead and dive into this one and start cutting it apart, get my old section off, then I'll start fitting my new rocker panel up. Today's episode of Inside the Body Shop is brought to you by Killer Tools. Now they sent me two of their new digital tram gauges. This is the ART 90 XD and this is the ART 903 MD. So this tram gauge extends from 20 inches all the way up to 5 feet. And this one goes from 29 inches all the way up to 9 feet. So this is great for doing underbodies of trucks and longer stretches. Now each of these tram gauges come with two 12-inch pointers as well as two 5-inch pointers. So I'm going to start off doing a little demo with the smaller version here, the 90 XD. I'm going to put my longer pointers in. Then I will turn it on, and it uses a laser. Actually, it shoots the laser from here to this target right here to make the measurements. So obviously you can't block the laser, you can't have anything in the way, but I haven't really had an issue with that. Now I have a spec sheet of some measurements on here, and I'm going to start off, I'm going to do a measurement at these bottom points right here. It's 1439 millimeters. So I'm going to extend it from this bolt right here, the center, to this one right here. So I'm going to stretch this out. Now I have this sitting at the center of both of the bolts. I'm going to push the red button once to wake up the laser, then I'll push it again to make the measurement. Then we'll pick it up, look at it, and it looks like we measured at 1,437 millimeters. The spec on the car is 1,439 millimeters, so we are within 2 millimeters. That is exactly what we want. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put one shorter pointer in here, and I'm going to make another measurement. I'm going to go from this point back here to right here, which is this rear hood hinge bolt, to this right here. It's a little tricky getting around these hinges, but it can be done. I have this in the center of the rear hood bolt and the center of this bolt right here. I'm going to go ahead and measure it, and it looks like we got 854 millimeters, and it's supposed to be 856. So we are within 2 mils tolerance there as well. If you're interested in picking up one of these Killer Tools tram gauges, go to killertools.com. You could also check out all of their other dent repair tools they have available. These are also available through all of your local tool trucks that come into your shops. So talk to them about the Killer Tool tram gauges if you're interested. And let's get back to the program. going to roughly sit this rocker panel section on here. And I have it to where I cut it a little long so it overlaps the last little bit on the car there. And I did the same thing down here. Then I'm going to go through and scribe right where this ends at. Then I'll lift that back off and trim this the rest of the way. And that'll give me a perfect cut. And I'll do the same thing at the other seam as well. And there it is. This middle seam I cut just perfect. I just measured it out. Now this is a backer plate that I made out of the old piece of the panel, and Ford wants you to use a backer plate where possible. It just helps when welding up the seam, having a backer behind it. So I went ahead and I fit up the rear door to make sure it lined up properly, and it looks just right. It's slightly wider at the top, but the other side is the exact same way. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with it, and I'll lift this door back off, and I'll go ahead and get that rocker panel welded on. So this rocker panel gets a very light chip guard across the bottom. I gotta tape it off right at this line right here. But first, I'm gonna scuff it up, and then I'll tape it off and apply that chip guard. Chip guard is essentially just a thicker texture that helps prevent rocks from coming up and chipping the bottom of the rocker panel.